Minneapolis versus Saint Paul, a rivalry that is as old as time, and both cities' people are passionate that their city is better than the other. And if you're not from Minnesota, this video is going to be extra insightful because I'm going to lend my personal take on both cities as someone who's lived in the area for 24 years. This will be a really fun video because Minneapolis and Saint Paul have so many things that are not in common. They are truly two totally different vibes. And honestly, I think the reason they're called the Twin Cities is because they complement each other very, very well. So getting right into it, for starters, Minneapolis is just simply way bigger than Saint Paul, as Minneapolis actually has about 150,000 more people than the Saint Paul area. Aside from population, one thing that Minneapolis for sure has Saint Paul beat on is going to be the nightlife. Minneapolis has some of the most underrated nightlife in the country, from high-end eateries, rooftop bars, sports bars, you name it, Minneapolis has got it. But that's not to say that Saint Paul doesn't have a good nightlife scene. It's just a slightly different nightlife scene. Probably a lot less crowded, and they've got more dive bars and more of that exquisite, eclectic feel over in Saint Paul's nightlife. So kind of piggybacking on the nightlife, Minneapolis probably has Saint Paul beat on sports. In Minneapolis, we have the US Bank Stadium, which is an architectural masterpiece where the Vikings play. You can catch a Timberwolves game at the Target Center, or you can catch a Twins game at Target Field. And of course, after those games, there's a ton of people bleeding into the restaurant scene and the bar scene and enjoying the after party of those games on any given night. Saint Paul does have a little bit of a sports scene though as well. They do have the XL Energy Center, and we are the state of hockey. So that's got to get a little more pedigree than just a normal sports scene. On top of that, they have the relatively new Allianz Field, where the Minnesota soccer team in the MLS is based out of. So one thing that Saint Paul and Minneapolis both share is that they have an amazing job market. The Twin Cities are actually home to 16 Fortune 500 companies. Saint Paul has 3M right outside of city limits, and that has a beautiful state-of-the-art headquarters. And then Minneapolis has General Mills just right outside of city limits as well. And both of those big name companies have offices all over the state, so you're not necessarily tied to either city. So the unemployment rate in both cities is actually just above 3%, which is really rock solid when compared to the rest of the United States. Important to note that also cost of living wise, Minneapolis and Saint Paul do differ slightly. Saint Paul is going to be your more budget friendly choice of the two cities, as the median home price is about 10 to 15% less than the median home price in that of Minneapolis. And if you're an artsy type of person, I do think you'll really, really enjoy Minneapolis, as Minneapolis has one of the best art scenes in the country. We have the Walker Art Center, which is absolutely stunning. Of course, the iconic Sculpture Garden right across the street from the Walker Art Center. That's got your spoon and cherry that everyone's probably seen. And we also have the Guthrie Theater, which is an architectural masterpiece. Both Minneapolis and Saint Paul are in the top 5 across the entire country for parks and trails. They both have the advantage of having the Mississippi run through them, which means there's great trails, great beaches, and things to do. But the Minneapolis area has the city lakes, which are a little bit more crowded, also come with more things to do, like concerts and volleyball, but they've got that packed feel where I feel like Saint Paul is a little bit slower, a little less crowds. You can kind of tell there's a little bit of a theme here that Minneapolis and Saint Paul have a lot of the same things, but Saint Paul is going to be a slower pace of play and a little bit less crowded. And one other really cool thing about Minneapolis and Saint Paul is that they're both home to very sought after and prestigious universities. Minneapolis has the U of M, which kind of has a little sliver of the southeast portion of the city. It's on the other side of the river and doesn't really feel associated with downtown, but it's a very nice campus. Saint Paul has University of St. Thomas, which is pretty much nestled right along the Mississippi River in between all of Saint Paul's most sought after neighborhoods. So in general, both places have been voted very, very great places to live, raise a family, whether you're a working professional or you're retired. Both are solid options, but I hope this video lets you draw your own conclusions about which city that you think is better. I'm personally a suburb guy, and I'm actually a man of the Minneapolis suburb. But if you're thinking about moving to any of these areas and making Minnesota your new home, you guys know where to find my information, my phone, my Instagram. It's all on my YouTube banner. Feel free to reach out with your more specific questions there. And whether you're from the area or headed to Minnesota and you want to learn more about the suburbs, please drop those cities in the comments below, and I'll be happy to unpack those cities for you. That's going to do it all for this video, guys. I'll see you guys on the next one.